My name is Jessica Villaro, and I am the Marketing Manager at VAI. I would like to welcome everyone to today's VAI and HelpSystems webinar, How to Take a Phased Approach to Document and Forms Management for AP. With the right electronic document and forms management solution, you can streamline your processes and save on time, errors, and money, all while improving your data integrity, speeding up document routing, and make payment processing painless. Today, HelpSystems will show you how to take a smart, phased approach to implementing an electronic document and forms management solution for AP. You'll learn use cases for better document management, how to go beyond paper with electronic forms management, and the benefits of using Webdocs for AP with S2K Enterprise. Presenting today will be HelpSystems' Greg Schmidt, Senior Technical Solutions Consultant, and Vince Taravella, Regional Sales Manager. At the end of the webinar, Greg and Vince will open up the floor for any questions you may have. If you do have questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them to me in the chat area so I can make sure they get answered. Lastly, for more information regarding upcoming events, you can visit our website at www.vai.net/events. And with that, I will hand it off to Greg and Vince.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Good morning and afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today. That's titled, like Jessica said, How to Take a Phased Approach to a Document and Forms Management Implementation for AP. I'm Greg Schmidt, and I will be joined today again by Vince Taravella, our Regional Sales Manager and VAI Partner Manager. Today we'll be showing you how to take the smart phased approach to implementing an electronic document and forms management system for the AP department and other departments as well. And again, my name is Greg Schmidt. I'm the Senior Technical Solutions Consultant for the Document and Forms Management brand here at HelpSystems. I've been with the Document and Forms Management brand for over 20 years now. I specialize in the pre-sales demonstrations and POCs, business process requirements gathering, implementation, and best practice guidance within organization. And again, I'm joined by Vince Taravella, one of our regional sales managers here at HelpSystems, and the VAI channel manager as well. You're going to be hearing more from Vince in just a minute, and he's going to start us out with our conversation in just a few seconds here. Okay, quick look at the agenda. So our journey today is going to start with Vince giving an overview of the areas that we can help with inside your organization. And then Vince will be covering the areas of focus of the Document and Forms Management brand here at HelpSystems on some of those other areas that we can help you with. We'll also be covering taking the phased approach to implementing a solution. So you'll be walking through a couple slides on that. And then Vince will introduce the Webdocs for AP solution and how it works with S2K. And then he'll hand it over to me to show you how it all works together. Then I also will be covering some of the packages that are available today in the AP module. And then we'll finish up with some Q&A at the end and answer any questions that you might have. Okay, let's get started. Vince, take it away.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time this afternoon to join us and learn more about document management and how it can be deployed in your organization. One of the reasons I wanted to speak at the beginning here was, in addition to the accounts payable process, which is what our focus is today, there are many different use cases for document management in an organization. And it's pretty typical for companies to deploy document management for the AP process, but then over time expand the solution into different departments. Go ahead, Greg. So we break our solution down into three basic parts, that being document management, forms management, and process management. The first one I want to speak about is the document management portion. The product that we feature, Greg, go ahead, is called Webdocs. It is the core application. It is where the documents are stored, the central repository for the documents. It's also where the integration to the back office solution takes place, in this case S2K, and it's also where the workflow gets set up. So we have about maybe 5 or 6 different ways we capture documents. Obviously, we can capture paper. We have a zonal OCR capability for being able to scan in documents. But we could also capture documents electronically by monitoring an iSeries spool file or monitoring a network folder. We can also monitor an email client to bring documents in automatically into Webdocs. And in addition to managing standard reports like POs and invoices and bill of lading and proof of delivery, we can store things like drawings, CAD drawings, and reports. And pretty much we can store any file type, including audio files and video files. Greg, next slide. The second piece is our process management, and this is the workflow engine. It comes as part of Webdocs. It comes included with the base package, and this is a product that allows you to take any document in the organization and send it through a workflow process, typically an approval process. Very typical, by the way, in the AP process, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But the solution also supports things like signatures and email notifications, and these workflow processes are very easy to set up. They're actually set up by the user. They take literally minutes to set up a workflow. And again, they're used for taking any document and sending it through the organization for approval. Greg? The final piece is our forms management piece. This is actually an additional module. It's called Webdocs Forms Management. It allows you to put a form out on the web for capturing data. There's two-way data integration to S2K, where you can have the system backfill a form with data from S2K, or as you gather the data, capture the data with the form, you can feed that data up to S2K. We also support PDF forms filling, and this product also, like Webdocs, has a workflow engine at the base. So you could pass a document around through the organization, or say a form that's not completed. You could pass it around the organization, and then once the form is finalized, it can be checked into Webdocs, where there's yet another workflow process that you can take advantage of. Greg? So again, our focus today is going to be on accounts payable, but think about how you can expand the solution beyond the accounts payable process into a number of different departments. At the bottom, you see a bunch of different types of documents that we typically can ingest into Webdocs and store and retrieve and manage, so on and so forth. Next screen. Once you decide on a particular process or a particular department that you want to deploy the software, you could actually phase it in within that department. You could start very simply up front with a basic capture, store, and retrieve. Over time, you could add barcoding to your documents and deploy or use some of the OCR capabilities that we have and turn on some of the validation and backfilling capability to S2K. The third phase might be adding approvals and reviews using the workflow engine. And then finally, for those people who have large volumes of documents, we have an advanced capture piece that we can add. This is very typical and will be discussed during the AP process because many people are processing thousands and thousands of invoices, and our advanced capture helps you manage that. Go ahead, Greg. So again, we're going to focus on the AP process today. We can manage not just POs, but non-PO based invoices. The solution is integrated to S2K, and there are a lot of great benefits to deploying document management to address the accounts payable process. Greg? So, I mean, some of the benefits are pretty straightforward and apparent. Things like getting away from data entry, being able to improve your approval process, things like being able to pay your vendors faster to take advantage of vendor discounts, and et cetera. So there's a lot of efficiencies that can be achieved up front by deploying an AP process. Greg? And my last slide here talks about, why people are typically choosing us to automate the AP. Well, in addition to the very intuitive interface and feature function software, which which was what Webdocs has, okay, we do have the integration to S2K out of the box. And like I mentioned earlier, the solution can be expanded over time throughout the organization to address multiple use cases in different departments. So, Greg, without any further hesitation, I will turn it over to you.
All right, great. Thank you, Vince. All right, I'm going to be covering now the overview of the Webdocs for AP and how it works with S2K for the processing. So first of all, here's a look at the process that we normally go through. So in a normal AP process flow, there really are three stages of the process, right? So there's document capture with automated classification and data extraction, like Vince was talking about just a little bit ago. And then there's also user review stages for workflow approvals and exception handling. So we can cover both of those areas. And then document and data integration and use. So the whole utilize and import, export kind of structures that we'll talk about here in a second. Here's a little deeper view of the AP process. With this process, we can handle the automated capture of incoming documents from any source, like scanned documents, incoming invoices from email accounts. We can even do network folder monitoring, so we can monitor for incoming documents in that direction. And then we also have an RPA solution, a robotic process automation solution that can also help you handle any automated capture of documents from web portals. It could be, from other business applications that you might have as well. So we can do some automation around that part of it. After the documents are captured from the different sources, they are then processed with our advanced capture system, which automates the document capture process, but also automates the document classification and data extraction from the invoices, so no rekeying needs to take place into S2K. All that data is passed over directly. Documents that are captured are then ran through the system, and business rules and the matching is applied to them. So we can run business rules on those documents that come through and basically look for variances or if there is a PO, if there's not a PO, so we can do some of that matching kind of process up front or validation process up front in the collection. If a document fails the process, we provide what we call a human-in-the-loop interface to the AP team to review the invoices and do any corrections and then move it on into S2K and into Webdocs. PO-based invoices that are matched go straight through with no touching. So a large percent of those documents that we capture and they match, they're going to go straight through without anybody's touching of them. And the non-PO-based invoices can be routed for approval in S2K directly, or they can be processed into a Webdocs workflow for approval. Okay, now I'm going to cover the packages that we offer for the AP automation, and then I'll go through some more of the process as well. So the two packages I'll be talking about today are the base package and the advanced package. So here's a look at the base package that we refer to as the foundational package. In this process, it starts with the incoming documents and the data extraction, like I just talked about, and then the documents are saved to the Webdocs repository, and the data that was extracted from the incoming invoices is passed to the S2K import utility. Users would be able to do approval and data corrections for exceptions directly in the S2K AP maintenance interface. If there is no exceptions, the data goes straight through to the vouchering process inside of S2K. In the base package, all reviewers and approvers are made, reviews and approvals are made in the S2 interface directly. Now, package 2 is our advanced option, which allows you to customize the process a little bit more. So for PO-based invoices that are matched go straight through to S2K, just like the base package. But here's where the difference is. The non-PO-based invoices can be routed into a workflow for users to update the information that gets passed to S2K and also do GL coding directly in the Webdocs routing form as well. This option is mostly used if you have approvers that are non-S2K users. And it also is used sometimes to customize the flow of data before it is passed to S2K to go through that vouchering process. All right, now I'm just going to talk a little bit about how the updating of S2K happens. The updating of S2K happens by using the S2K import utility that was created by VAI to ingest our XML data that was extracted from the invoices via the advanced capture process. In this process, the exported data is automatically pushed to the import utility, and it runs through the validation and verification process to make sure the data is correct. So it does a data cleansing at the time of import. I also want to mention this too, from the other standpoint, when that data is entered into S2K, the data at the header, footer, and also line item detail that we extract is also matched by the 2- and 3-way matching process directly in S2K as well. The S2K import utility is an out-of-the-box utility for S2K version 6.0 and above, but just to remember, it also can be configured for earlier versions of S2K as well by the VAI services team. All right, here, to finish off the process, I'm going to show you a little bit deeper look inside so that you can sort of see what happens after the data has been captured. To sort of finish off that process. So the S2K exception handling and vouchering process. So after that import of data and the verification and validation process happens, it then runs through the S2K exception and vouchering process. If the data is validated and matched, it goes directly to the vouchering process to create a voucher. If it fails validation during the import, it then goes into the S2K data editor, so corrections can be made directly in the S2K interface. And here's sort of a look at that. Here's sort of a look at the interface for material and non-material based invoices and how they would access them in the interface. And this next one here is, any documents that did not pass that validation would be displayed in the AP maintenance import screens. The users can view the data and correct any errors at that same time when that document is available to them, or that data is available to them in the import. In this interface, the user is flagged with any corrections, so it will show them where the corrections need to take place, and then they have the ability to update this at the same time. And if GL coding needs to happen at a certain point, that can be done directly in the S2K interface. I want to note that if the GL coding needs to happen before the data is passed to the S2K interface, that's where we'd use that advanced option where we can route that document around to process the data from other users before we actually pass that over into S2K. So we can do workflow and approvals and departmental GLs and stuff like that directly through the Webdocs for AP interface as well. We also have an option to do auto GL coding. This is mostly used for utility-based bills, so no one needs to code these invoices. So if you know the allotment per department or per location or something like that, we can actually put some auto GL coding in. So if a utility bill comes in, we can do some splits of that automatically. Now on to the searching and accessing a document. So for searching and accessing a document can happen in a couple of ways. The first option you always have is the ability to directly in the Webdocs interface, through the web browser interface, to interact with it and search for documents, which takes just seconds to be able to search for a document. But even to make it easier, directly in the S2K interface in the inquiry screens, you can click the document search button to launch the document. Then it will directly launch the document and display it in your screen with just one button push. So very easy to do from the integration standpoint, to be able to either access it from the Webdocs interface, from the repository standpoint, or if you're on a screen inside of S2K, you can actually access it directly from that interface. So it's a lot quicker. All right. We're going to take a little time here for Q&A and see if there's any questions out there. Feel free to keep entering those questions here while we go through those questions. Jessica? Do you want
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Greg. At this time, if anybody has any questions, please type them to me in the chat area.